Hey YouTube, Common Collector here, and today I am bringing you guys my Evil Twin Dogmatika Eldlich deck profile. This is a really sweet competitive deck that a lot of people were sort of like sleeping on right when it came out because not many people took the Evil Twin engine very seriously until people realized that you could so easily mix it up with Dogmatikas just like you can with Invoked. And I've played a lot with the Dogmatika Invoked, so overall this deck flows really similarly. The great thing about the Evil Twin engine is that it allows you to basically have a 6-card hand on your opening turn because you're always going to be able to draw off of the Kizikil basically. And then you have the Eldlich engine, which just sort of supplements some extra longevity. I actually kind of like this almost a little bit better compared to Invoked because it seems like with the Invoked Dogmatika, you sort of can end up getting your engine sort of, losing its steam, but with the Eldlich, it really seems like you kind of always have something going. So without any further ado, let's just get on right into the deck profile. Please don't forget to subscribe if you guys haven't already for future competitive and budget deck profiles. So obviously this is going to be a competitive deck profile, so it is pushing the budget very heavily, but we're going to be going on here with 3 copies of our Ecclesia. It is your best searcher for the deck. As long as you can get into your link monsters, this card does not even require a normal summon. You just special summon it, so it's just really awesome. Then we're going on with just the 1 copy of Fleur-de-Lis, which is really great because, Fleur-de-Lis is just like an extra hand trap for the deck, and he can really help facilitate some easy OTKing on your opponent because he can just juice up his and Ecclesia's attacks by 500, which means that you can push for quite a bit of damage. Then we're going to go on into our 2 copies of our Live Twin Kizikil and our Live Twin Leela. I can't believe that it's taken me this long to actually do a deck profile on the Live Twin, Evil Twin deck. But yeah, this was sort of what I wanted to go with first, was with this sort of like marriage of these 3 archetypes. But with the Live Twins, it's really amazing that as long as you normal or special summon each of these, then they can special summon the other one onto the field, as long as you don't have any other monsters on the field when you do it. It would be really awesome if they wouldn't have put in that clause and maybe made it so like as long as like a Live Twin or something is on the field, so like then you would actually be able to get out like 3 monsters, which would have actually made the deck really helpful, but or would have helped out the deck quite a bit. But we should be getting another Live Twin next week in the Blazing Vortex, so we could see this deck changing up a little bit just so you get that extra card. Then for our next monster, we're going to be playing our 2 copies of Eldlich. This just works super great with the deck because we're playing a lot of stuff that, you can sort of bounce around stuff from your hand in the graveyard. Sending him into the graveyard with stuff like Forbidden Droplet and whatnot is always pretty good. So there's just a lot of really great synergy with all 3 of these engines. And also, let's just take note, how cool is this that we have, all together, we have Maximum Gold Rare, Starlight Rare, and Collector's Rare all here in one deck. I think that's really cool. I was able to pull this out of one of my last boxes of Genesis Impact, so I was really excited to put all of this stuff together because I think that this is actually really cool. We'll go on into our 3 copies of Parallel Exceed. This is just a fantastic extender because, like I said, if you're going off of the Live Twins, you kind of run out of gas a little bit because it's just nice to sort of extend into the Link monsters without having to send the first Link monster away. So actually the Parallel Exceed helps you to sort of facilitate some of that because once you go into your Dogmatika engine, you're locked you're locked out of the extra deck. So it's kind of nice to have the Exceeds to sort of excel your plays a little bit. Then we're going to go on into our 3 copies of Gamma and Driver. This is pretty standard for this format, or for like the last handful of formats. But Gamma's just super great. You can always combine this so well with your Forbidden Droplet and stuff. Basically, none of your resources on the field or in the hand are ever going to go to waste. So that's what's really cool. Then we're going to go on into our 3 copies of Ash. Sorry, I'm playing the ones with the feet. I know some people don't like it, but no feet equals defeat. beat. So that's why I sometimes play these. We're going to go on to our 2 copies of Skullmeister because this card is really, really nice. This card pairs super well if you're playing like a bigger Dogmatika engine. So if you wanted to play Maximus in here, I would almost cut Ash to 2 and then Skullmeister to 3. Because Skullmeister is just really great right now with stopping graveyard effects, because basically every single deck relies on graveyard effects right now. So instead of putting Nibiru in the main deck, I thought Skullmeister was actually a really good alternative, as well as he is a level 4, so he can help us with some of our XZ plays as well. So then we're going to go on into the spells. We have our 3 copies of Droplet. This card's basically in here for any kinds of big threats that we need to beat over, because it can have attack, as well as negating really important monsters, such as like Vanity's Ruler, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, all that kind of stuff. Forbidden Droplet's just super duper great this format. If you don't have this card, it's too bad. If you know, like if you can afford, if you can't afford it, there's other stuff, Dark Ruler No More, as well as just basically like anything that can give you like an extra negate, you know, at the start of your turn. Then we're gonna go on into our 3 copies of Nadir Servant. Basically just starts off our Dogmatika engine and can pitch extra stuff into our graveyard, which is really nice. Kind of, Nadir Servant just super great, worth all the money in the world. Like if you're running a Dogmatika engine, you need Nadir Servant. Then our 3 copies of Live Twin Home. This card is really, really nice, especially if you want to extend further. So instead of like relying on drawing into your Live Twins, it's just sometimes nice to get to the Live Twin Home, activate this in order to get a special summon off, and then you can just normal summon something else. So like even the fact that Skullmeister, like I was saying, he's normal summonable. He's a level 4, so sometimes that can kind of come up if he's just sort of sitting dead in your hand. Then we'll go on into our 2 copies of Sign Up Mining. Basically, Sign Up Mining does the exact same thing that your Live Twin Home will do. It's just nice to sort of get like you have a 5 different cards to search your Live Twins, along with all of like the 4 copies that are also in the deck of those cards. So really nice. You're basically playing like even amounts of each engine. I would say that probably the one that's hardest to get going, if you don't find the cards, is Dogmatika, but you even have like Dogmatika Punishment, which can send your Titaniclad to the graveyard. So eventually you can find those cards. We have our 2 copies of Cursed Emlyn for our last 2 spell cards. And then for the traps, we're playing obviously our 3 copies of Scarlet Sanguine, just to get our Eldlich, the Golden Lord, out of the deck. And we're going to be going on into our 3 copies of the Conquistador, as well as the standard 2 copies of Haquero, and then that's going to be it for all of the Eldlich cards. Then for our final 2 cards of the deck, we have our 2 copies of Dogmatika Punishment. You could knock this up to 3 if you really wanted to, but this is already a 45 card deck. I figured that I could sort of stray away from the strict 40 card builds that I usually go with, because we are playing 3 engines in here, so it kind of helps you to stop seeing some of the brickier cards. Like you don't always want to be seeing like your Psyframe Gear Driver, as well as like a few of these other cards. Even sometimes just sort of leaving like Fleur de Lis in the hand. Like you can so easily search so many of the important cards that it's kind of nice to just play this as a 45 card build. So for that reason, that's why I kind of knocked it up to that. So let's get on into the extra deck. We have our 3 copies of Evil Twin Kissikel. I almost said Live Twin, but yeah. So once they go into the extra deck, basically they are Evil Twins. I believe, I think that the new card coming out of Blazing Vortex is a Live Twin, and then we have one of the main deck cards is the Evil Twin Kissikel, and this is also a collector's rare that I bought off a buddy of mine, and this card looks so sweet. I think that the leggings on the Leela, oh my god, this card's just so sick. But anyways, so going on with our Evil Twin engine, so we have our 2 copies, or our 3 copies of Kissikel, because when this card gets special summoned from the graveyard by Lila's effect, you get to draw 1 card. And then we have our 2 copies of Lila. Surprisingly, the extra deck in here is pretty tight, so Lila does work at just a 2 of. So with this card, when it's special summoned by Kissikel's effect, then then you get to blow up one card on the field, which is also just really, really nice. We have our one copy of Lingaribo. We have basically with this card, you link summon it with a level 4 or lower Cyberse monster and can negate traps. We have a lot of targets for this, and we even have a target in the side deck, which we will be getting to very, very soon. We have our one copy of Nightmare Phoenix as well as one Unicorn. And then we go on into one copy of Unchained Abomination. This card works so great with the Evil Twin engine because, again, you have, I mean, basically every single engine has something that can destroy something. So getting Abomination on field, you're basically always going to have a way to basically get 2 pops on your opponent's turn, and then also a 3rd pop during the end phase. So it's just really, really nuts. We have our one copy of Access Code Talker. He can super duper easily be link summoned by your Evil Twins, and then also the Evil Twins are light and dark. So that means that you can you're already going to have 2 monsters in the graveyard that you can banish in order to use Access Code Talker's effect. So it just synergizes really, really well. We'll go on into our Dogmatika cards. So we just have 2 copies of Natis and then 1 copy of Titaniclad. Pretty standard. I wish that there was a little extra space in the extra deck, but you really can't knock these cards down anymore. So then we're going to go on into the last 2 cards of the extra deck. If we did have a 16-card extra deck, I would absolutely be playing Double A Zeus, but unfortunately the rule is you only get 15 cards, so that's why I had to go with the Abyss Dweller and the Sky Cavalry Centuria. So Abyss Dweller is super fantastic right now. Like, I don't know why more decks aren't playing Abyss Dweller, because right now everything is so graveyard-centric, so if I don't see my Skullmeister's opening hand, then that's when I want to get Abyss Dweller onto the field. And then the Sky Cavalry Centuria is just really great for destroying big boss monsters that you can't get around. So that's going to do it for the extra deck. Let's get on into the side deck. So for the side deck, we have our one copy of Nightmare Corruptor Eldlich. This is just a really fantastic floodgate right now because the 2 best decks in the game basically don't do very much link summoning, especially Virtual World. So then you have other decks like Drytron and Eldlich, which can special summon link monsters. However, especially with Drytron, they need to get a lot more other stuff in their engine going. There's even a lot of turns where Drytron doesn't like even normal summon any monsters. So if you can get the Nightmare Corruptor Eldlich onto your opponent's side of the field, all they can summon is link monsters. Sometimes this doesn't work out that great. Like, it'll give them, like an extra link material. But also this card is really nice for getting your Live Twin or Evil Twin engine going again. So when this card's normal summoned, you just get to take a link monster from your graveyard and special summon it back to the field. And then when this card gets sent to the graveyard, then it just goes to your opponent's side of the field and then floodgates them so that they can only special summon link monsters, which is pretty cool. We'll go on into our 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. This is really just, these were in here to fill up the slots of Eldlich. Eldlich is super searchable in the deck, so you really don't need to play any more than that. Then we'll go on into our 3 copies of Nibiru. Pretty standard. I wish I could have put this in the main deck, but Skullmeister for this format just makes a little bit more sense to me. That's just me, but so obviously this is just a deck profile on what I've been playing. Obviously, sort of suit things to whatever, at your locals, whatever you need to do, but this is just for the current meta, what I thought made sense. Then we'll go on into our 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird, basically to stop Drytron and any other decks that it applies to. Then for other matchups, we have our 3 copies of Ice Dragon's Prison. This card works phenomenally well in the mirror match just to stop any kind of like Eldlich. And then you have obviously like Dragoon as well as even like hitting Zodiac. So like Zodiac Eldlich, I always side in Ice Dragon's Prison. So there's just a lot of really great matchups that Prison works with, which is why I think it's like a $30 card right now. I'm so glad I picked it up when it was only $8. Then we'll go on into our 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone and Harpy's Feather Duster just for extra back row removal, and then also again like for the mirror match. So anyways, guys, that is going to do it for the deck profile. Thank you guys so much for joining. This has been a really fun deck to mess around with. I've really been enjoying it. It's a super duper fun deck, and it's actually surprisingly competitive. So yeah, there's going to be plenty more deck profiles in the future, sort of going around these three engines. I have a lot more in the works for Eldlich stuff, like working on my own Zodiac Eldlich and whatnot. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoy these three archetypes, there will be plenty more to cover on the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining once again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.